Thank you. Let me try to see if it's working. Thank you everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm Stelios Charitakis. I'm very, very excited to be here with you in Zurich. Thank you for the CAP2 and the Screver team for inviting us here. I'm Stelios. Let me introduce myself. I'm Stelios. I'm the customer experience lead for the Mid-Europe region in MSD. I've worked in several countries within MER. My experience is around digital marketing, pharmaceutical marketing, change management, customer experience, and communications. I will be very happy to connect with you even afterwards for topics that include the omnichannel engagement, automation, CX metrics and insights, or whatever you can think that it could be relevant. Let's start with buzzwords, right? Let's start with buzzwords. So everything started for us when we realized that we had a major gap to fill between customer value and business value. And while in business value we were doing very well, we knew very well what we want to accomplish. I'm pretty sure that you do the same in your own companies. We realized that we didn't know much about our customers on an individual level, right? We did some initial segmentation to have some minor personalizations, but we never really knew what drives their motivation. What does customer value means on an individual level on every customer? Each one is different, they communicate in a different way, they have a different culture, different things motivate them and drive their decisions. So are we really aware of what matters to our customers on an individual level? We didn't. Are we making their experience smoother, faster, easier, more efficient? We didn't know. But also in the business value that was very well defined. Are we leveraging the right technology, the right tools, the right capabilities and skills? And also, is it measurable? Does it really matter? The gap, I mentioned before, it becomes more visible in this feedback loop. So just between customer value and business value, we were missing the most critical part. What does the customer do, feel, believe, acts upon after delivering the customer value, after delivering any kind of engagement? And then most importantly, what does it mean for them? What type of reaction is it triggering? And you can understand that in this endless customer engagement feedback loop, this is the critical part that would give us insights to reiterate. So if you miss that, you cannot have the loop. Closing the gap between customer value and business value is critical first to understand the relationship between CX metrics and business insights overall. Customer value with business, customer metrics with business insights. Now, and after investing a couple or more years in a solid voice of customer strategy across the region, we are in a situation to know not only how our customers react during our engagements with traditional metrics like coverage, open rates, etc., but we also know how they feel, how we make them feel and what decisions we'll be making afterwards. So it's much easier for us now to be in a sweet spot to be able to connect CSAT, NPS, customer effort score, and other metrics to analyze and come up with business decisions, to go back to our internal customers and explain that we are here to help them provide data to drive their decision making. But before all that, and this is the reason I'm here today, is to present you the whole journey we had from the beginning. It was quite a journey, I have to say. MER region, Mid-Europe region consists of more or less than 30 markets with different population, different priorities, different ways of working, but different maturity as well, different level of resources. But everyone had to align and had to understand that they should become more customer-centric. So from the beginning that we understood the gap and we found the value on having a project like that, it was very challenging to convince our internal counterparts that they should change completely their ways of working and rely on what customers would say, over time. And to do this, we needed several weapons in our armory. The first thing we did was something that, in my opinion, is the best way to drive change management. We became customer-centric. We asked our customers, and then we let them drive change management. So when scratching and asking customers, we realized that almost 7 out of 10 truly appreciate providing regular feedback opportunities. And not only that, on top of those, most of them believe that by giving them regular feedback opportunities, they would build a better relationship with us. So soon, we realized that we should start asking questions to our customer more and more in a non-intrusive way, in a pool format, so whenever they want, they would give us feedback. Everything started for us in the region in 2023. After having a few use cases in 21 and 22, we'll see later, 2023 was the year that we decided that this is so important for us that should be set under a regional, above-market, regional-wide strategy, a voice of customer strategy, and try really to scale from 1 to 5 markets to 30. So we started in Q1 2023, 5 initial pilots. That was it, 5 markets out of the 30, with just a couple of channels on early adoption, capturing feedback, just a couple of use cases. And later in Q3, when they came up with the first initial findings, it was very clear that we needed to scale. Successful experiment once, twice, we were ready to scale. Q4 2023 is where magic happens. And it's incredible how much work is behind these couple of lines. So the first thing we did, after we realized that this is the way to go, we aligned all together internally on what we're going to measure, how, with what templates, what good looks like, what we're going to report. So after we had this internal alignment, we worked a lot with the Screver team and Cap2 team to integrate the Sclever platform in our reality, in our ecosystem. And this was key for us. You know, we will talk also a bit later about that, but when you need to drive change in such a massive region with many, many diversities behind it, the last thing you want is a very non-flexible platform or a partner that is non-flexible at all, that says you will do it our way. This was the exact opposite that we found, the reality that we found with the Cap2 team. They were very eager to integrate their platform in our needs, to orchestrate everything around MSD. And this was key for us. For example, using company tagging and taxonomy in their own platform or integrating the data they had within our own platforms was key for us to move forward. So all concerns are solved. We have successful use cases. We have identified the value. Everyone understands the value behind this initiative. 2024 is the year that we drove results. We drove performance. We started with very ambitious aspirations. We asked all the markets to capture customer feedback during or after every engagement they're having. Too ambitious, but it was showing the way. Gradually, in Q2 and Q3 in 2024, we started including more channels. We started with email, then with web, then we included chatbots, then we included congresses, web events, whatever you can imagine. We'll see a bit later. And in Q4, closing the year, we were already capturing the first results out of 20-something markets, and we were ready to optimize, to try to improve the so-called ratio, number of feedbacks received / impressions, / total impressions. So we're already in a position to start experimenting in terms of UI UX. 2024 was also the change management year. It was the year that we asked all the markets to do the first thing, to actually measure CSAT and capture customer feedback during every engagement. This was not easy at all, as I said before. We used several weapons we had in our armory. One of those, apart from the slide I showed you in the beginning, was over-communication. We went everywhere. We convinced the president of the company, we went to managing director meetings, we went to commercial meetings, we went to local markets, we went to the campaign managers. We set up communities of practice because in this new reality, we were all together. Nobody should feel threatened or be fearful of the results or in terms of failing. So we made it very clear that the value is there. We know how to do it. We have an excellent partner to support us on that. We have an easy way for you to do it, so help us. Let's work together. Let's try to find what stops us so we can solve it all together. It's fine if you do a mistake. And this is how our change management worked in 2024. So just a few slides to indicative of the growth we mentioned. You will see on the upper left the channels we were enabling over here, the therapeutic areas, the audience, and also the number of markets over here, together with the number of surveys. So after 2021 and 2022, where we have just a few markets experimenting with a few surveys, this is when we decided that we need to go, as I said, big. We need to scale across the whole region. So you will see that from 3 channels, 5 therapeutic areas in 2022 and 5 countries, we had the first boom. 7 channels, 7 therapeutic areas, all potential audiences, 16 markets, thousands of feedbacks. And this is just 23. When 2024 started pushing further, We had all channels mapped, 10 therapeutic areas, all audiences, almost 40 countries, because a new region came up, wanted to copy our approach, and of course we were super happy to have them on board. So the EMEA region jumps on board. We have close to 40 markets, and we're capturing dozens of thousands of feedbacks now. Moving to 2025, this voice of customer strategy that started from the Mid-Europe region within Screver will be scaled globally. So close to 70 markets, priority markets for us, will be capturing customer feedback through Screver this year, and the next year most probably will be globally accepted for all the markets in the world to be able to jump on the train. I wanted to keep also this slide here because this is how we evolved on the channels as well. You must have noticed before that we did not only scale in terms of market by market, so it was a sequential change, growth that came one after another. We wanted to grow in so many different areas, in numbers of channels, in numbers of therapeutic areas, in numbers of markets, in numbers of engagements overall. One of those were the channel integration. And the reason I wanted to stick a bit here is because when you integrate a new channel, usually there is some work to be done on the front end and on the back end. Front end is because you have to put your form there, you have to go through medical legal approvals or whatever compliance approval you have to go through in your company. And then on the back end, the data infrastructure, which is always tricky. I think you know what I mean. And the fact that most of those or many of those channels are owned by third parties. So some of the channels that are either owned or influenced, impacted by our company was easier to implement, bringing together these two sides, Screver and MSD. But for the third party, this is where we got stellar support from Cap2 and the Screver team. They were literally reaching out on their own to the company that we had collaborations with. They were solving the issue on the back end, and we were enabling another channel and another channel like this. Now moving to 2025, we have promised some AI goodies from the Screver team that relate with auto-tagging services, with understanding the sentiment, with clustering responses in order to get to correlate, to come to some correlations regarding insights, etc. So we're very, very excited to see what the future beholds in 2025, plus to close the loop. Because closing the loop is the #1 element of closing the gap between customer value and business value. A few secrets, not that secret because I'm going to tell you now. It's something that Amelie, of course, mentioned before as well. Start small. Sometimes an initiative, when an initiative is so big, it gets underwhelming. Where to start, what to do first. Take a step back, start small. One market, one channel, one survey. That's all you need. If it works, then do 2 channels, 2 markets, 2 surveys. If this works, you're ready to go. There's nothing, there are no other problems that you might interfere. You can run fast. Now the tricky part. This was, as I said before, the most difficult part. The diversity of the region, not having global support on that, completely regional project under a regional strategy. It was not really easy to convince internal counterparts that they need to invest on something that it's like watering plants. You're not going to invest 1 today and take 2 tomorrow. No idea, no way. But you will be able to water the plants every day, and at one point you will be able to harvest, and you will be able to harvest big time. So it wasn't easy to explain that during their busy day-to-day life, we needed to change completely their ways of working and start integrating CSAT forms, feedback capturing forms in every asset. This requires approvals in the back end, new processes, new trainings to come up, etc. So as I said before, over-communication, having weapons in our armories, going everywhere, communicating the value of this. We even started standardizing QR codes with Screver forms in the end of our internal presentations, so our counterparts would see what a great experience would be for the customers to provide feedback. They loved it, I have to say. Next one, again, equally important, consistency. Consistency is key. You saw before that 7 out of 10 customers indeed believe that providing regular is a key word here, feedback opportunities would result to better relationship, or they would really appreciate this. This means that the customers, and of course, I mean, people want to be heard, but they want to be heard, and customers are people. But they want to be heard on their own way. They want to use it as a pull function. They want to do it whenever they feel usually very happy or very unhappy. And that's why we see this polarity on the results, 1s and 5s, 2s and 4s, right? So they tend to provide feedback, all of us, I guess, here, when you're very happy or very unhappy. So consistency is key. It's very normal in the first few efforts that you are making to capture customer feedback that you will have low volume. They don't know it. They have no idea that there is an option whenever I engage with an MSD employee or tactic or marketing effort, that there is a chance to provide feedback. So you need to build the habit, and this is crucial. You need to build the habit. That's why we were ambitious in our initial aspiration, capture customer feedback from everywhere. It's like watering the plants. It's a customer that will see a couple of times this feedback form and he will say, nah, it's fine. But this 10th time that he will be very satisfied, or not hopefully very satisfied, he will remember that it was there in the last email he saw, so he will provide feedback. You need to build the habit, and volumes will grow over time as we are experiencing it already. The platform, I said also before, it's not easy to drive change management with a non-flexible platform or a non-flexible partner. Screver literally was integrated in our own infrastructure, in our own technologies. We used the same technologies to integrate the data and data to be flowing. It was the platform of our choice. So we were happy to drive change management only in our ways of working, and at the same time offering to our internal customers a platform that is very easy to use. They can be trained and onboarding overnight. We never had complaints on how efficient it was or effective overall. So that was the good part. That was a good breath that we had. And any concern that was coming from the markets, we were just a call away from the Cap2 team to solve it. So I have to say that the support was stellar, and really Screver was eventually the platform that suited our needs. Last thing, structure the data. This has to do with reporting and from the beginning. Now, if you consider 70 markets, 12 channels, millions of engagements, you can understand that this data schema is getting out of hand. So if you don't have a solid plan from the beginning, what I'm capturing, why, or let's do it step by step, let's do also alphanumerical data sets, then move forward afterwards to open text to try to close the loop, you will get lost. So know beforehand what you're going to measure, what good looks like, what your end report that you're going to show to your business counterparts would look like, to structure the data accordingly. I just included a couple of use cases. I have to tell you here, though, our strategy is to be consistent. It's not about use cases. Out of this consistency over the last few years, we had some excellent use cases as well that I showed you. But again, it's not about having a single use case and drop it. Switzerland. Switzerland has one of the best use cases. On an ESOP-alike website, we're measuring customer effort score right after they register. Then we have always-on NPS survey during their staying and their navigation on the website. And of course, after the sale is done, after purchase, we have a CSAT survey triggered, so we get the whole end-to-end ESOP experience from the beginning to the end. And what does it mean for them? Poland. Poland is investing a lot on events, on virtual events and other events. They have receiving stellar CSAT continuously. They are using Screver to understand how relevant the topics were, how relevant the speakers were for these congresses. Portugal, again, a very, very interesting and very mature, I would say, use case, because they used all the technology we had in our disposal in order to automate the collection. So as we speak, the Portuguese team is receiving customer feedback without even doing anything. What's next for us? And that's a tricky part, because as I said, we're already going global. So we really need, as the region that we're the first comers here and the ones that open the way, we need to remain ahead, and we need to leverage on these AI goodies, as I said before, that the Screver team has offered to us. So we're really eager to start right away experimenting with the sentiment and signal detection to understand what's the sentiment out of a plethora of customer feedbacks overall, not only related to CX metrics, but overall feedback. Then very important cross-market insights and insight to action summaries. So what we will need right now is to try to cluster different customer feedbacks to smaller clusters or segments, and then try to correlate with something actionable. And this is what we're expecting for AI to help us with. and close the loop, using AI to close the loop to understand how relevant, again, cluster open text fields, understand how relevant or how important it is for the specific customer, will also help us close this gap between customer value and business value. Thank you. That was all. Very happy to take your questions. Pleasure talking with you.